She's obviously furious that Trump has taken over her district. He's taken over the DC Police Department, the Metropolitan PD. He's put National Guard troops in. He's put federal law enforcement troops. They're all walking the streets, effective yesterday, stopping crime, and she cannot bear it. She cannot bear it. She's been exposed for the feckless, incompetent she is. Her authority has been stripped from her, as it should never have been granted to her in the first place. Reportedly, she's furious. Furious as her lawyers are now telling her she has no grounds to challenge President Trump's federalization of the DC police due to the declared crime emergency, and that she must essentially surrender. Submit, Mayor Bowser. Submit to Daddy Trump. Oh my God. The salt in the wound. She must essentially submit to the federal takeover. From your lips to God's ear. By the way, that was a deep fake, that little clip I played of her. But you know what's not a deep fake? This is not a deep fake. 1992, this is Joe Biden talking about how dangerous Washington, D.C. was. You can't even stop at a red light commuting out of work if you work in D.C. because you'll be carjacked. Yes, the man who would go on to steal an election. President Joe Auto Pen Dementia Biden. Let's hear what good old Joe, Sleepy Joe, has to say about crime, violent crime in the District of Columbia.
Driving home, my staff who lives here in the Hill reminded me, don't stop at a stoplight until I'm out of town. If I see a red light late at night, since there's very little traffic, slow up at the other block so I never come to a full stop except in the middle of the block because of carjackings. Stopping at a light, people standing in a corner, walking up with a gun. Driving home, my staff.
So that was 1992. And I can assure you, things haven't gotten better, despite what the lying liars will tell you. That's been Washington, D.C. my entire life, ever since at least they were given self-governance, home rule in 1975. What a brilliant idea that turned out to be. And of course, a lot of Democrats are lying about all this. Let's hear what Trump has to say about it. President Trump has officially announced a historic action to rescue Washington, D.C. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we are going to take our capital back. Let's put Trump up. We can hear what the great and powerful Donald Trump has to say about all this.
And they're going to be allowed to do.
Oops.
Wow. I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this.
Safest room in Washington, D.C. That's where all the journalists went.
Ballroom. And that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room.
Something's muted. Am I muted? I shouldn't. You can't hear the Trump video? Can you hear the video?
Wow. I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor.
Bedlam.
And this is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the DC Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. And you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get...
Oh, what happened? Oh, that's the end of the clip. He was telling the reporters, you don't want to get murdered either. Oh, wait a minute. I have a backup of that here. Let's see. I didn't expect it to end right there. Here's Trump again.
I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened.
What are they supposed to say? Yeah, I do want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed.
And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as...
We should be so proud. So proud. We handed over governance of Washington, D.C. to the DEI demographic, and this is what we got for it.
Being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to.
It sounds like he's just describing the Democrats in Congress. All right, I got another short clip here. I think he's saying different stuff. I think it's ongoing. Let me take a look. By the way, this is brilliant of Trump. First of all, he's factually correct, but it's also brilliant of him from a politically strategic level where he's blending into this press conference about taking over DC because of violent crime. He's blending that in, appropriately so, with sanctuary city status because you want the two to be associated in the public mind. So this is really critical because you know what the left does. They have to argue for illegal migrants. So how do you do that? Well, you make them look sympathetic, right? Oh, they just want a better life for themselves. They've lived here for years. They don't have a criminal record, right? But of course, with illegal migrant third world invaders does come a great deal of crime. And we're not required to put up with the crime so we can do favors for 1 billion people from the third world, not to mention the sanctity of American sovereignty and culture. We don't become more America by importing the third world. We become more third world. How much poop do you have to add to a bucket of water before you wouldn't drink it anymore? It's not potable water. The great and powerful Stephen Miller also makes this point. He writes, everyone just needs to internalize that we have an entire political party, the Democrats, solely dedicated to protecting criminals and foreign trespassers, meaning illegal migrant third world invaders. That is the modern Democrat Party. This is their constituency, the criminals and the illegal migrant third world invaders. Because the American people will no longer vote for the Democrat Party. Democrat approval rating is down about 19%. If they did not have gerrymandering, if they did not have racial congressional districts, if they did not have 100 million illegal migrant third world invaders being counted in the census for House apportionment, for congressional seats, they would have no political power. They would be in the political wilderness, which of course is where they belong. Americans do not want their policies. That's why they had to steal our money, taxpayer money, by the trillions of dollars and launder it through USAID, through Act Blue, through these various NGOs. So they would have the resources to push the agenda that the American body politic does not want.
Thanks for watching this highlight segment of our full-length Law of Self-Defense live stream. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to give us a like and subscribe for more expert analysis on politics, law, and how to be hard to convict. And to watch the full-length episode of this show, just click right here. Stay safe.